with another episode with Red Couch Conversation. Listen, guys, I keep going out in the community and having conversation with people that we need to have conversations with. And I have the pleasure of having Miss Tanya Reed in the lounge today. How are you?
I am simply amazing.
You really are.
I am.
Look, I'm excited to have you in the lounge. Like, hey, girl.
Right. How you doing?
I'm wonderful.
Great,
I'm wonderful.
great.
Listen, you ever want somebody with positivity, just vibing? This right here is who you be
To
with
God
right here.
be the
I
glory.
tell you,
Yes.
the smiles, the journey, and everything, it comes
Wow.
together because I've never ever seen you without this beautiful smile.
Wow.
So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
You know, we talk about affirmations. Sometimes a smile will just do it for the
Absolutely.
person.
You're right.
And you welcome everybody
I
with just
do.
joy. So
I
thank
do.
you for doing that, okay?
You're welcome. Yes.
So listen, a couple of weeks ago, we were in each other's company.
Yes.
And I said, hey girl, I need your book.
Mm-hmm.
So she blessed me with this copy of this book. Let me tell y'all that. You hear what I said? She blessed me
Yes.
with this book. And I just want to say that if you haven't read it, go get you a copy. Take you some time, flip through the pages, get your ink pen, write in it, talk about it, highlight. Because you know what? This right here is good. This is gold.
Well, to God be the glory. Yes.
I'm going to tell you something. I didn't know if I need to, like, cry,
Really?
praise
I
God.
know, right?
I'm sitting up here like, okay, what's the next chapter?
Right.
You know, like, oh my gosh. But this is good. So tell me a little bit about how did you wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to write a book.
Well, it did not happen like that at all.
Okay.
I did not wake up one morning and say that this is what I'm going to do. But I was, as I was going to church, it was before COVID, and my pastor at that time, my co-pastor at that time had walked me through the majority of these steps.
Okay.
And she said, you gotta let people know. You have to tell somebody about your story. And I was like, well, what do you mean? She was like, all the deaths that you went through, it would have destroyed so many people. But it looks as if it's only making you better. So I started my computer and I just went from the first person, like chapter. My daddy was the first person that passed away. I would write a little bit about him, and then I would just go from one person to the next person. And then I was talking to my cousin Brian Foster, and he said, April, we're gonna put this book out. And so you might as well go ahead and look at it, edit it. We're gonna put it out. I gotta give you a deadline, or you're not gonna do it.
Right.
So it was Brian Foster, who we argue and fight like cats and dogs.
That's what we do.
Right. But he pushed me to tell my story.
Let me tell you, this, I said, you know, you don't know if you want to cry, but it's an inspirational read.
Right.
And I like what you just said. It would have broken some people, right? But because of whose you are,
Exactly.
you were able to pull it together and say, you know what, I'm going to share this.
Right.
And this right here is something that I think that if you've gone through anything, you lost somebody, if you lost somebody, and because it don't come with a manual.
It don't.
Guess what she just did, y'all?
It don't.
We got a little manual guide right here. Not to say all your answers going to be in here, but it's a guide. And what I like about what after every experience, as emotional as it was, you were able to bring back practical points.
Right.
And you were able to bring back, hey, the grief process.
Right.
And how to identify ways that helped you to encourage the reader.
Right.
So I just want to talk about a little bit about that, if you don't mind, okay?
Yeah. So the way I looked at it was, do people ever talk about death?
Right.
Do anybody ever teach you how, when somebody that you've known all your life pass away, then what you do?
That's right.
Nobody talks about death. And I would always, because I would be the emotional one, they know Tanya's gonna cry, she's gonna do all this at this funeral, she's gonna cry. But nobody never told me how to walk after somebody has passed away.
Right.
That means the world to you.
Right.
So I wanted to put together the practical things and be real about it.
Oh,
Be real about it.
You were real.
Right. Be real about that. I was mad
Right.
that these people died. I didn't understand what God was doing, why he was doing it, and why was it happening to me?
Right.
You know?
Over
Again. It felt like soon as I halfway thought I was together with one, somebody else died.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't focus so much on myself because it was other people that needed me.
That's right.
So I had to be strong for other people. So in this, it's just a whole lot. It's showing different levels of people because it's the strong person.
Yeah.
It's the person that's always going to take care of somebody. It's the person that is going to try to keep moving. It's going to be the person that going to try to make sure that everybody's happy. But what happens to that person?
That's right.
What happens to the helper?
That's right. The strongest person in the room is not always the strongest person.
It's not. It's not.
So let me tell you, reading the chapter about your father and being a daddy's girl.
God. That part.
being a daddy's girl
Right.
actually was highlighted in that chapter, right? And you know, I'm dressed and prepared to go somewhere. I'm ready because I got plans.
Right.
But don't you know plans change?
And
Don't
they
you know?
did.
You know what I'm saying?
You read the book.
I read the book, girl. I'm sitting up at night like, wait a minute, this baby was ready to go.
I was ready to go.
Dressed and ready to go. And guess what? In the midst of the plans, everything changed. And I'm going to tell you, that chapter there resonated.
Right.
Because in life, and it don't always have to be a death.
Right.
That's what I liked about that
Right.
chapter. It doesn't have to be a death because in the first part of it, it wasn't a death.
No, it wasn't.
It
I
was
thought
a-
it was some routine.
Right.
Right. Come on here, Dad. I gotta go.
I know. I got somewhere to be.
I got
I'm
somewhere to
dressed
be,
and people
yeah.
waiting on me.
Right.
But oh, how things can change in the blink of an eye.
Right. And that's life.
That is life.
And that's life.
And that's what, to me, that's what I received. That
Right.
it wasn't just about, oh, the outcome. Because it was what I was going through as I was preparing.
Right.
Because I read in there, hey, I still can make it.
Right. Right.
To my event.
Right.
If they just
If they come
If they
on.
come on.
Yes. I can still do it.
Right. Right.
And my daddy was the apple of my eye. He could do
Yeah.
no wrong.
Right.
You know, he could do no wrong.
Yeah.
And I was married.
Yeah.
Children, husband was amazing, everything,
Yeah.
but won't nothing like my daddy.
Daddy, right. That's why I said the daddy's girl.
Yes.
That's true.
Yes.
And let me tell you, then I get to reading on a little bit, and I may skip around because I just want to highlight just some of this. And when you're out here, you're going through, and it could be a father figure, it could
Right.
be an uncle, it could be whomever is important to you. The practical points that she provided can help you process, because she was mad. And mad is a natural feeling. Like we said, when you can't be mad. You can be mad.
You can. You can't question God. Well, if I don't question, how am I get the answer?
He my father.
Right. If I can't ask him the question, who gonna ask him?
Right.
Right.
Now, but you gotta be prepared for the answer.
Right.
That
That
part.
part. That part.
And you bold enough to ask a question, you gotta be bold enough for that answer.
Exactly. And what happens when you don't get the answer?
You wait.
What happens?
That's
Exactly.
right.
Exactly. So I was in that as well because sometimes he didn't give me an answer.
That's right.
But I said, God, you got to give me peace about these whys.
That's right.
Why did these things happen to these people? And when he wouldn't tell me why, I had to find peace about it.
Right. Right.
And we struggle in that area as well when it comes to grief
right.
and people passing away. So
then we journey on through this because, you know, you had some joy when you met your brother. So, you know, you think you got all your people and then you meet a brother.
Meet a brother. Yep.
You know, just when you think you got everybody,
Right.
you meet a brother.
Yep.
How did it make you feel to meet your brother?
So we knew like back years ago that it may be
Right.
something,
It's a
you know,
possibility,
daddy was,
Yeah.
daddy was daddy. But when we finally met him and when we saw him and he looked like us, I said, oh my God, I love him. So the connection was immediate.
Right, right.
His son was named the same thing as my son.
Oh my God.
We were just, his birthday is 2 days after my daughter's birthday. It was just too much that was just the same. And we connected immediately. immediately. I loved my nieces and nephews, my sister-in-law, all of that. We connected immediately. And it was like time had never passed.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, he was gone.
He was gone.
He was gone. Right.
So, I wanted to bring that out because you do have joy when you meet your family, especially if you hadn't met them, growing up and growing up with them, but you connected. But now, you meet him, tragedy happens, and then that person is gone. So you got a void field to have some love, some hurt.
Right.
But what I liked about the practical points when you talked about the loss of your brother was something that I believe that we can share with everybody. Don't dwell on what you didn't have when you didn't have it.
Right.
Enjoy what you did have.
Exactly. You got it. You got it.
That's what I got from it. Okay.
And that's exactly right.
Yes.
Because you have to look at it that God still gave me time. He gave me time to know him. He gave us time to learn each other.
Right.
He gave us time to be siblings, talk on the phone, and those types of things. So cherish the moment.
Cherish the moment.
Cherish the moment. And don't get caught up in stuff that does not matter.
Right.
It does not matter. It does. At the end of the day, when you walk away from that grave and they put that dirt over that grave and you can never have another conversation with that person, that who left the food out, who didn't do what, why they didn't do it, does not matter.
It does not matter.
It does not matter at the end of the day.
And you got to pull it together and you have to live.
You do.
You have to live. So listen, people, I promise you, situation after situation after situation, she identifies the hurt, the relationships, and it just continues to grow. So I'm gonna share some similarities in here. With this time, you may not know.
Okay.
But I lost two brothers.
No,
Tragic. Two. And when I read your story, I put my brothers in that story.
Wow.
And I said,
"You gonna make me cry."
But see, when you read, you got to make this thing personal.
Right.
You got to make this personal.
Wow.
And so when I was reading this, I made it so personal that I just want to say that it made me think about my two little brothers who went on. And it wasn't about how they left.
Right.
But it's about what they left with me.
Right.
And the memories. And so I thank you for sharing that because I know you were telling your journey about your brother.
Right.
Or your brother, I'm sorry. But I was able to say, this happened a little on me because I know that feeling.
Right.
I know that feeling.
Exactly.
And so I want you all to know when you get this book, and I encourage everybody to go out and get a copy of this. And you can make that connection too because I know that somebody may be going through or been through or didn't even realize it. And my brother been gone for a long time.
Right.
But it still became so fresh when I read about your brother.
Wow.
And I thought about it. You know what? Let me pause for a second. And let me reflect. So I want to thank you. And I know it was your story. And my heart went out to you.
Right.
But I made it so personal.
Right. And
those practical points. Those practical points is what I needed to have at that moment. Because it really did something for me.
Right.
Okay? Going on through the book.
Okay.
Like you said, you done read this here book.
You done
read this here
you
book.
done read this book. Come on. Who we gonna talk about now?
Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna skip on to the back because what we don't realize is that we can have family. It can be somebody else's story, but it affect us too.
My God. Yes.
Because I love, you know Kay's husband.
I love
you
Earl.
love him.
Yes.
That was my Earl.
Yes.
And although that was her loss, it affected
It was
you.
our loss.
It was our loss.
Right.
It was a significant loss.
It was.
And I think because to me you gave homage
Wow.
to him and to her children and to her to let you know that you're not forgotten.
Right.
Because he was important and significant. Did I get it?
You got it. You got it. And Earl was an amazing man, and him and Kay together was what Black love looked like.
Oh, trust me.
They were Black love. They were amazing. And the thing of it is that, they argued sometimes. Sometimes they didn't get along. But at the end of the day, he still was her king and she was his queen. So, and she made it known that he did too. And that's it. I love their relationship. Dartez and Michaela, how they were as a family, the grandchildren. They were not perfect, but they were perfect. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They had real pain, real loss, real love, and it was perfect. And what made me add Earl to it was I was now on the other side, almost on the other side of healing from time.
Right.
Passing to my husband. And when Earl passed away, and when I first walked in the house and I saw Kay, I saw that I felt her same brokenness that I felt.
Right.
And she said the same words to me that I said to somebody else.
Right.
She said, what am I going to do? Because this man was her world.
Yeah.
You know, when you've been married to somebody over 20 years, you can't act like they didn't exist.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And you at a point that you are at loss sometimes for what's next.
What's next? How am I gonna get to tomorrow?
Right.
Not next week, just tomorrow. How am I gonna get to 6 o'clock?
Right. Those things. And I remember, and I love my family. I love all my family. But the Fosters, from my parents and everything, they were taught to stick together at all times. And they passed that all down to us. And I want to pass that down to our children and to keep going. So at that time when Kay was going through her time, we spent the night.
Right.
We made her life our life.
That's right.
I went to work, I got off work, I went back down there, and I did it all again. Because she was that for me.
Right.
And I want to be what I wanted other people to be for me.
That's right. That's right.
And her mood was there. They did what they were supposed to do. And not that other people didn't, but they were there and they did what they needed to do.
I like the fact that you were able to highlight that because in life, some of us are going to go through similar situations.
Exactly.
And it may take your strength to empower the next person.
Right.
Can I tell you something else? Let me tell you something else. See, she don't even know who she's talking
Listen, listen, go ahead and say, because I think I do. Go ahead.
She don't even know. Let me tell you something. This is my book. She done wrote my book, y'all. She done tapped her into my book. So, you know, I was 27 years old when I lost my husband.
You know what? I thought so. Your son used to go to K's daycare.
Yeah, and Jalen.
Yes. Okay.
And let me tell you something. And I'm gonna get the timing. We're gonna get the timing right now.
Okay. Come on, let's get to it.
Because what people don't realize is that you don't wake up in the morning and say he never existed.
You don't.
You don't wake up and say, you know what? I'm gonna just put him on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
You got to live with that thing.
You got to.
And so when I read this, and the reason I went all the way to Earl, come back to him because I wanted to do exactly what you did. You brought Kay into this.
Right. Because
in your story, you were able to offer her something that she offered you: comfort, support, love, and guidance. Exactly. Right? And she didn't know she was gonna need it.
She did.
Back then when she was giving it to you.
Yes.
But that's how this thing is reciprocated. Mm-hmm. And so when I tell you, I sat up in my bed. I was walking through the house like this, y'all. Somebody called, You know, I went through it. Because people don't realize that this is real. This is real emotion. Every page was real. Every page was real. And I don't want to tell every story that's in here.
Right.
Because I want them to read it.
Yeah.
And I want them to want you to buy it. I'm telling you, it's an easy read.
It is.
Quick read.
It is.
And put your story on these pages.
Right.
Because you know what? It could be your grandma. It could be your mother. Mm-hmm. It could be your cousin. It could be anybody.
It could.
And you had children. Mm-hmm. 3.
Yep.
I had 3 children.
Wow.
When my husband passed.
Wow.
And I put my story on these pages. I'm like, how does she know?
Right.
How does she know?
Wow.
You know, and I'm reading it.
It is
like,
amazing.
It is amazing. But see, that's how God ordained it. So this wasn't by chance.
Right. Exactly.
And so when I read this, I'm thinking like, how many times have I said what you said?
Wow.
How am I gonna get through this?
How am I gonna do this?
I get through it.
Right.
I didn't say with love, the support, having a relationship with God.
Yes.
You
get through it.
You get through it.
You do. You do.
Get through it. So tell me about Tom. Tell me about him.
Oh, Tom. I love Tom. Of course, Tom is from Warrenton. Did not know.
Good people come out of Warren County, y'all.
Tommy was from Warrenton, and the whole time that my Uncle McDonald was married to my Aunt Lucy, never knew that she had brothers until one day. They moved into a house, and they had a housewarming, and Tommy came up, and I'm like, who that?
Oh,
okay, so
who that?
I was like, who is that? So they was like, oh, that's Lucy's brother, blah, 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 and really didn't even think anything of it. So then time went on, and I guess mutually, I'm asking Uncle Mac about him, and he asking Uncle Mac about me.
Right.
So we got together, and it just seemed like things really just went really fast. So we got married. We had a son together. I had a child before marriage, and he had one. Mm-hmm. Then we had one together. And everything was good. You know, marriage is marriage, ups and downs, but everything was good. And one day, we both worked for the same company. And that year, every year they would take the guys on a vacation.
Okay.
Yes. And that particular year, I said, well, you go this year, Tommy, and I'm going to stay here. Because we were both in leadership at the job, we both couldn't go. Right. One would have to stay. So I said, I'm going to stay and you go. And he was like, okay. But that day before, he was like, I'm just going to stay here. And you go ahead and go this time. And I was like, you sure? So he was like, yeah. So I went. And usually, me and Purvis was working out there at the time, and everything was going fine. Everything was fine. And my supervisor got a phone call, and I heard her whispering, and I'm like, and then she started calling people to the phone, right? And I'm like, she calling everybody, but she calling me. What's going on here? So I get up out of my room and I go, and then everybody just looking at me, and I'm like, well, what is it, y'all? And they said, Tommy was in an accident. I don't want you to be upset. And I was like, why? Because we just got a phone talking about paying the car insurance.
Right.
So I ain't upset at all.
Right.
Yeah. I said, he okay? I was like, what do I need to do? I said, is he at the hospital or what? And they was like, just went silent. I'm like, well, what y'all want me to do? What's going on? So that time, they was like, well, you just need to go. So Purvis took me. We were 3 hours away.
Right.
And by the time I got to Mariah Perm, they had life flight event to do. I was still okay, because I was praying all the way. Okay, God, I don't care how you keep him, just keep him. He's my husband. I'm gonna take care of him. I don't care if I gotta feed him, bathe him,
whatever you gotta do.
He is my husband. I love him. So my children were. I had to send my children to the hospital when they said he had an accident, because of course I wasn't there.
Right.
So I was telling my children, I said, I need y'all to stay focused on the people that are positive.
That's right.
I need you to find your Uncle Ron. I need you to find Purvis. I need you to find people that are going to, whatever the doctor says,
stay positive.
Stay positive.
That's right.
I said, if your Uncle Ron and your Uncle Purvis tell y'all something different, go with what they say. And not Purvis, because Purvis with me. Brian and Ron. I said, if they say something, you go with that until I get there.
Okay.
So be strong. You got it. Then it's going to be all right. And that's what I thought. But when I got to Duke Regional, and the doctor took me into that room, and he began to tell me how that Tommy had stopped breathing 3 times. And the last time he stayed under too long. And of course, the brain can't repair itself.
Right.
So the brain couldn't repair itself, and they had to do one more test, and if he did not pass that test, he would be determined brain dead. So I'm like, still, okay, God, come on.
That's right.
You gonna do it, speaking in the air, bye-bye, just the whole night. Just God gonna do it, because not right now.
That's right.
We renewed our vows 20 years, grandchildren, I still like them. Ain't nobody in the house but me and him. We looking at cartoons, eating, Cheerios, Fruit Loops, this kind of whole lot of thing. We liking each other, children grown. And that we spent the night at the hospital, and the next day the doctor walked in, and he said, we can't, it's nothing else that we can do. And I said, okay. You still saying this, but I'm still believing God.
That's right.
His mom was there, amazing mom, sisters was there, and he was like, we can wait as long as you want to turn them off the machine or whatever, and we'll give you time. So, and they did that. They gave me time to, for everybody to say their goodbyes.
Right.
And in the end, the kids and I went in there. I went in there by myself, and I laid on him, and I reminded him of how amazing he was to us, how he took care of us, and my children and grandchildren, because the papa was the world to these children.
Yes.
We're going to be all right.
That's right.
If you got to go, we're going to be all right. But the whole time, I'm still believing God.
That's right.
I'm still believing God. And we went in there, and they took him off, and when they was taking him off, some things were dropping, but he was still, it seemed like he was yet holding on.
That's right. That's
So I was yet holding on too.
Right.
Until they had took everything off, and still probably about a minute or two later, he was still holding on, and then I seen the line go straight. And I knew then that my whole world at that moment had changed. Life as I knew it had changed, and people don't want to say, because I say I died October 18, 2018.
That's right. That's right.
Because I'm no longer somebody's husband. I mean, wife.
Right.
I'm no longer somebody's wife. I'm no longer Miss Reed. I'm no longer, Tommy's wife in that sense. I'm no longer that.
I wanted you to tell, and I hope you didn't mind me asking you to tell your story, your journey, your walk, your experience, because it's going to help somebody.
Exactly, and that's what I wanted to do.
And when you read this, and she goes to her Florida Evans moment.
Yes.
And we all seen that part of the show, and you think about, is this the same lady that has this bright smile,
right,
that's jolly,
right,
that's so willing to love on everybody,
right,
and she's been through death after death after death after death, and still stand?
Right.
This is empowering. Because I'm listening to you, and when you started to even say Tommy's name,
I know.
it just
everything.
And that's something that don't go away.
Right, it don't.
And I'm sitting here like, okay, tears don't fall.
I know, right?
Fall. But it was a part of the story. That's a love story.
Right.
And this right here, I don't want anybody to think, oh, this is a book about death. I don't want to read it.
Right.
If you walk away with thinking that, you missed it.
Right.
This is a love story of how a little girl loved her dad.
Right.
This is a love story of how a little girl loved her husband.
Wow.
This is a love story of how, I love my mama.
Yes.
Oh, my big brother. Oh, my this, and oh, my cousin, and oh, my good friend, and oh, my this.
Yes.
This is a love story.
Right. Wow.
That's what's on these pages.
Wow.
That's how I read it, okay? And your story is a testimony, and your story is going to continue to empower people. And with that, Tommy will always be with us.
Right.
Right. And the other people, and I'm not minimizing any of the other people,
right,
but I just want to capitalize
right,
that when we go through significant losses,
right,
it's real.
It's real. It's real.
So what and I always ask questions like this of my guests. What would you share to that newly widower? What advice would you give?
I would say that it's okay. It's okay. I know we say it all the time. It's okay not to be okay, but it actually is. It's okay not to be okay. You are going to have to go through the waves and the emotions and the times of sadness, anger, feeling lonely, feeling without, feeling all the feelings. Embrace them. Right. Embrace them, deal with them, and move forward.
That's right.
Because that was my hardest struggle, was to embrace the feelings, because I felt like I had to be strong. Because if I break, my children gonna break. If I break, my grandchildren are going to see me mom cry, and then they're going to cry. You know, if I break, then Ron and Previs them going to be looking at me saying, what can I do to help? It was nothing. They, as much as Ron, Previs, Brian, Katie, Moot, Tracy, Kelly, all of my family, as much as they were there for me, they could not mend my broken heart.
That's right.
They could not mend the loss. They could not mend the depth of darkness that I felt, how I felt like I was walking in a fog. They could not mend me. And I know that they wanted to, but they couldn't do it. This was something only me and God could do.
That part.
Only me and God could do, but I had to allow God to do it. And I struggled for a long time. I mean, even to the point of every morning I would wake up and say, God, you really gonna make me walk through this. You really gonna make me live without this man that I love.
Right, right.
You know, you gonna make me do this. And he made me do it. He made me do it. And
but did he leave you?
Listen, my children, my grandchildren have not missed a beat since my husband passed away.
Won't he do it?
God will be whatever you need if you let him be it. He will.
Yes.
And I encourage you to do that. Let him be what he said he's going to be. He'll be a provider.
Exactly.
He'll be a keeper.
Comforter.
He'll be a comforter. He'll wipe your tears away in the midnight hour. He will comfort you and let you know that it's going to be all right. I gave the analogy to a person one time, something that's bittersweet. He took away, but he kept on loving me. He broke my heart, but he was mending it all at the same time. He was keeping me. And right when I needed people, when I felt like I'm at the end again, he would bring somebody through and they would give me a word to remind me that God will never leave you nor forsake you.
Oh.
And this one lady, he put a lady in my path. Her name is Apostle Carr. That she had lost her husband prior to me. And she was an older lady, and she was in the church. We went to the same church, and she was amazing. She gave me 5 scriptures. And I held on to those 5 scriptures. And you know, as I look back, each scripture took me from one journey to the next journey. And even down to the end, the last scripture that she gave me, I felt like I was at a healing place and I could stand on it. But sometimes you got to quote stuff and you got to say stuff even when you ain't got to the place.
Exactly.
Because it just reminds you of who God is and reminds you of who God, what God gonna do and how he gonna do it and how he's still faithful even when you can't see a way. So, and because I'm the same person that says all is well, that wanted to commit suicide.
That's right.
I'm that same person. I'm that same person that best friend had to come and get you out of bed because you ain't took a bath, you won't eat.
Right.
I hadn't ate, and Tommy passed away. I went a whole month and did not eat. People would say, "You ate?" Yeah. I would keep on saying, "Yeah." I ate until I passed out at work.
You mentioned the name. I was going to get to it. All is well, and we hear that. You know, we hear it
all the time.
All the time.
Right.
But you put a spin on it.
That's just like me.
That's just like you. Tell me what all is well for you. What does that mean to you?
All is well went through phases as well. As I went through phases, all is well did too. In the beginning, all is well. When people would say, "How you doing?" You know, after you lost somebody, you just say, "All is well." And that meant I didn't want to talk about it.
That's right. Leave me alone.
Leave me alone.
Today.
It ain't. All is well, and you can't change nothing, so there's no need for us to sit here and talk about
That's
how
right.
That's how it was in the beginning. And then as my journey changed, all is well, like I said, that changed. And it got to the point of now saying, when I say all is well, means that all is well, because if God don't make it well, it won't be well.
It's a different
It is. It make it just, because it was just, first all is well was carrying me. Now all is well is a statement. It's speaking volumes. It's speaking that if God, I don't care what in your life, it does not even have to be death, divorce, all is well.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they say divorce is just like somebody passing away. So all still gonna be well. Whatever you face is still going to be well. And I just want to be an encouragement to people that we don't have a book on what grief looks like, what death looks like, how long you stay in it, who it does not have color, because I can talk to Caucasian women that have lost their husband and they felt the same pain that I did.
That's right.
So it has no color, no race, no anything. It hits all of us at unknown times and it affects us in the same way.
That's right.
But how do you deal with it? I was determined for it not to make me bitter, but to make me better.
That's right.
It had to make me better.
Let me repeat what she said. She was determined.
I was determined.
Because you could have been bitter.
I could have. And I was for a moment. And you know, the world gives you the pass to be bitter and mad. Because, woe is her, she lost her husband. Right. But when you flip it and say, the joy of the Lord is my strength, they be like, what's wrong with her? Did she just lose time? I did.
Let me tell you, I was a young widower. So when I would get my children, I would go to the food line and, you know, and we buying groceries.
Right.
And somebody said, how can you smile?
Right.
And I'm like, how could I not smile?
Right.
You know, and I think about that when I'm thinking about, you know, not to say this is a rite of passage, but this is a part of life.
It is.
And when you go through something so traumatic, because it's traumatic.
It is.
We got to own that thing. It really is. It's life changing. And when you go through things, you got to deal with it head on. And your all is well transformed to all is well.
It is, yes.
And I like that you were able to put a spin on it. Because like you said in the beginning, all is well.
Right.
Get out my face.
Right.
But now, all is well. Come on in the room.
Come on, let me tell you.
Let me tell you about it.
Exactly.
And you too can have that experience. Reach out if it's your counselor, if it's your pastor, your support system, even if it's journaling, whatever it is, all is well.
Yes.
This is a great read. Like I said, don't stick to, this is not a book of obituaries. Let me just say that.
No, it's not.
And if you read it like that, you miss it.
Right.
This is not a book of obituaries.
Right. That's good. Because I wanted you to see their life. They had full life. They had good life. They were happy people. I loved her just like she was my sister, my two brothers, you know, Earl, my dad and my mama, just everything. And then when you look back on it, everybody that was in the house with me, they gone.
That's right.
So it's just me.
So who you going to tell your memories
Exactly.
to? You remember when.
Right. The people that knew me, they gone. So, yeah.
And you know, one of the things I wanted to highlight here is that in these pages, not only are there practical points, but the points of power.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know how to go through, take a moment and just flip through these pages. Even if you don't read it from front to the back, even if you flip through, because it's not a long read at all.
It's not, and I didn't want it to be.
No, and it didn't need to be.
Right.
But the points of power here is inspiring and it motivates you. So job well done, my sister.
To God be the glory.
You have to give him the praise because these pages right here, like I said, young, old.
Yes.
If there's a young teenager or young adult who's going through it, may have lost somebody.
Right.
This is a good read for them too.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be, wait till I lose somebody like to mirror this book.
Yes.
It's anybody because you lost a friend.
Yes.
And I think about some of the stories and some of the powers, the practical points, and that you made in here. And it's like this love story. Mm-hmm. You know how in the library they say, well, what section should this be in? This can be in a whole lot of sections.
Really?
This book could be all over that library. Y'all just find a place for it.
Wow.
So I just wanted to take time to go through these pages.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw you, I knew that I needed to interview you and have you share your story because your journey to healing is going to help somebody else.
Right.
My sister, what would you like to say to the guest?
I would like to say, first of all, get the book.
Tell them how they can get the book.
Yes, you can get the book on Amazon. It is, and I'm working on other ways that you can get it, but it's on Amazon now. Or you can inbox me and I can get the book to you. I have t-shirts. I'm coming out with some different styles of all is well. But the purpose and the passion behind this, it came from pain. It really did. My pain birthed this book and this passion. And I wanted people to know that grief is real, is a part of life, but you can and you will get through it. I wanted to be real, and even though I love the Lord and I'm in church, it hurt.
Yeah. It
hurt to walk away from every one of those graves. Every casket that closed in my face, it broke my heart. But God is still faithful. Yeah. But you gotta want to live. You gotta want to move forward. Is it hard? Absolutely. Absolutely hard. But you gotta be determined, because a loving God that we serve did not allow someone to die to kill us. He did not do that. He didn't take Tommy so it would destroy me.
That's right.
He didn't do that because he still loves me, and he loved Tommy.
That's right.
So you have to make up in your mind to live and talk to people. Call me, inbox me.
That's right.
Talk to people. Don't hold on to grief for 20, 30 years, and you 50 years old and you still dealing with the passing of a parent or a loved one, when you can talk about it. And it's okay to talk about it. My therapist was my best friend. After Tommy passed away, my therapist was my best friend. Yes, my spiritual parents were excellent, but I needed somebody that didn't know me, and I went in there and I screamed, I kicked, I yelled, I said I was mad. I don't like these people because they done went on with their life and what they think I'm supposed to do. And then they come back and they look at me, and then when I'm smiling, it's wrong. When I'm crying, I'm wrong. What am I supposed to do? And she allowed me to be me and to get all of that out. And then I got up and I said, I'll see you next week. And that's what I did.
And that's powerful that you were able to connect, because we're not saying don't stay in the spiritual realm.
Not at all.
Talk to your pastor, talk to your spiritual support, but also know that therapeutic help is there too.
It is.
And when you're going through, just know it's not meant for you to stay there.
It's not.
It's not meant for you to stay there. Because I think sometimes it's like people want to feel guilty.
Right.
Don't feel guilty.
Right.
You had a real hurt.
Right.
And when we go through, just know you gotta figure out how to be strong for you.
Right.
Don't be strong for me.
Right.
Be strong for you.
That's good. Right. Be strong for you.
And that's one of the things that I want to highlight. And so, sister, I just want to say, this right here is amazing.
Right.
And the fact that somebody, I'm not going to say that anybody could have wrote this, because everybody could have done this.
Right.
But somebody took time to think about others.
Right.
That's what you did.
Right.
I know you was getting your thoughts out and getting your feelings out, like you said, you went through some pain to put on these pages. But it's where it's needed. We gotta read this book.
It is.
And so I think that what I would like for you to do, if you have any book signings or you have any opportunities where you're out and about, and if you need me to promote anything, if you need me to be there, let me know. Call me. Like she said, if you're going through, you need somebody to talk to, call Tanya. Call Sharonda.
Exactly.
I mean,
and it's okay.
It's okay. It's okay to say, look, I heard you say something. Can we talk about it?
Right. And no judgment. No judgment
Never
zone.
Never that. Today is a great day to start a new day.
It is.
So.
And I want to say this one thing. Well, two things.
Okay.
I want to say that Ayana and June Lewis, we have gotten together, and because they lost their children in a fire.
That's right.
And I didn't want to reinvent the wheel again. So join and connect with people who are already having a movement, and they're having an amazing movement. And we meet every third Monday at 155 Dabney Drive, and it's a support group for anybody who's lost anybody in their life. And it starts at 6 o'clock. Come. Even if you don't talk, being in the midst of people who can recognize and understand your pain is amazing. Because you can't tell me how it feels to lose a husband when you ain't lost one. You can empathize with me or even sympathize with me, but you don't understand my pain. But when you enter into that room and those women have lost husbands and those people have lost children and aunts and uncles and brothers, they understand your pain. So come and sit down, and you don't have to talk. And I want to say this. Yes, these people died. Yes, I went through. But this is not what I want you to know. I want you to know that I'm living and life goes on. And it's because of God that I'm continuing to live. I'm not pushing God. I'm not pushing anything. But whatever you believe in it.
That's right.
And allow it to motivate you. Because I wasn't this person before.
Right.
I would not step in a room and think I owned it and command it to be me. But now I do.
That's right.
Because I have to live every moment as if it's my last.
That's right.
And I do.
I appreciate that. And you know what? You do claim the room and you command the respect of the room. And that's one of the things I admire about you.
Thanks.
She said a whole lot here. But listen, inbox her.
Yes.
Reach out to me. I can link you with her. If you want to get in touch with me, she can link you to me.
Right.
This is a sisterhood. Right
Absolutely.
Here. We ain't going
nowhere.
nowhere.
We ain't going nowhere.
So listen, I just want you to know I appreciate your time tonight. I appreciate you for giving me just a little bit of your time and being in my company. Here at Riddick Events, we're here to uplift. We're here to have the conversation. Some conversations are difficult to have.
Yes.
Sometimes we have some very, difficult conversations, but they're needed conversations.
Yes.
Again, get the book, have the conversation. Here at Riddick Events, as we always say, come talk to us before you talk yourself out of your next event. Have a good night.